Hey, and welcome back to part 2 of the In the Bucket series starring Blueberry Mead. So today and for the next 3 days, which I'm going to show you clips of, I'm going to be doing a specific gravity read to ensure that the blueberry mead is done fermenting. From there, we're going to clean out and strain the blueberry mead to get all the skins out to ensure that our blueberry mead doesn't go bad. So stay tuned and follow along on this adventure as we continue making our blueberry mead. So it's been a little over 2 weeks because today is the 26th. As you can see, there's not as much air bubbles up here. You can see that there's a lot of sediment down there, and then it's not gassing as much. But in about another week, I'm gonna start doing what they call Brix test to see on a daily to see if it's stopped, and then from there we can transfer it and let it sit for another month. I'm actually really eager to open this up and get a smell and take a look at what we got and make sure it didn't go bad, because there is that big possibility. Woo! Woo! It smells like alcohol. It doesn't smell like vinegar, which is a good sign. So let's now stick this in here. I'm gonna drop a sample, put that back in because my pipette is clean. So we're at 9 for the Brix. 5, 36, 37. 1.037. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to try and readjust this camera to get you guys a good look at it. So this is what I'm looking at through this specific refractometer. As you can see, the sugar is very low. It is also at 1.037 for the specific gravity. So as you can see, I've shut the lid and I'm going to check back in on this in 24 hours and make sure that the Brix hasn't changed or there wasn't any other issues. And then I'm also gonna look up a calculator to figure out what my alcohol per volume is going to be from the sugar itself, because I honestly have no idea how to calculate that. Okay, so it is now the next day and we're gonna do another reading, and I'm also gonna do a little taste test to see how this is coming along. Maybe if I can ever get this top off. Okay, there. I'm going to take my refractometer. Woo, that smells like what's the word I'm looking for? Definitely smells like a fruit wine, almost. Add a little bit there. Let's get a reading on this. Yeah, it's the same as yesterday. Let's see if I can't get you guys a good view of that. Maybe. Yeah, it's the same as yesterday. Okay, now that we know it's the same as yesterday, now we can actually calculate our ABV, or our alcohol per volume, with the specific gravities. And I'm also gonna give it a little taste. As you can see, it's really pretty. Here, let me kind of see how nice and pretty that is. That's a nice purpley color. It smells like fermented fruit juice, but not in a bad way. It kind of reminds me of red wine a little bit, like the oh dear, the lamb. I'm gonna say lambic, but I think that's correct because I know Lambert wine, something like that. Anyways, all I have going through my head is Gears of War thing where they turn into weird fire zombie things. Anyways, let's give this a try. Like I said, it smells like a fruit wine. It actually smells really good, which is kind of amazing seeing how my hay fever is killing me right now and I can only smell through one nostril. So let's see what this tastes like. Whew. If you've ever had a dry red wine, that's kind of the mouth feeling where it makes your mouth feel really dry just taking a sip of it. That's kind of how it feels in the mouth. Swishing it around in my mouth, I can't tell that it's blueberry. All I know is I can tell that it's fruit flavored. It's actually really good. For now, we should talk about ABV. And I'll show you how I'm going to, you okay, bud? So now we're going to talk about how we actually figure out what our alcohol content is for this blueberry mead that I have lovingly named Blue-magedon. Okay, so we're going to calculate what our alcohol or our ABV volume is going to be for this mead. So we have our starting, which was at 1.095, and we're going to minus our final gravity, which is 1.037. So that gives us a total of 0.058. Okay, so that's how much change there was. Next, we're going to take that number, so 0.058, and we're going to times it by 131.25. And I did a little research on why this number is so important. This number is trusted because it's the most consistent number they have come up with since they've been calculating the volume of alcohol. And that number actually comes from a chemistry equation, and the long form of it is it includes the density of ethanol and the number of ethanol grams generated per gram of carbon dioxide released in the fermentation process. In other words, it's the density of ethanol and water, and it accounts for the change between starting and finishing. So basically, this is how much the yeast has interacted and changed, and it basically balances out and subtracts and does all that fun stuff between the water, the sugars, and how that gets converted into the alcohol. So this number times this will give us 7.6125. So in other words, this will be a 7.6% blueberry mead. If there's any questions about this, I will be happy to answer them in the comments. Now that we have our alcohol per volume, we know the fermentation level has stopped and it's no longer off-gassing. We know that it's not changing in its sugar volume. Now will come the fun part. We have to strain out the blueberries, and then we have to let it sit a little bit longer to kind of clear up before we bottle. And I'm going to take you guys on that journey as well, because I would like to basically show you this whole process, start to finish, including all the sanitizing, so you're not as confused as I am with some of the steps from all the research and books and other YouTube tutorials I watched on blueberry mead. Because if you get confused, chances are you're going to end up with vinegar rather than a mead. Come with me and you'll be in a world of your imagination, and in time what you'll find defies explanation. On today's episode of Blue-magedon, let's pretend like we know what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the blueberries out, drain them, and pour the juice right back in. That's what you should do. Try and get as much juice out of these as possible before I take them out. You know, if I was smart, I actually would have used a slotted spoon instead. But I don't always think that far ahead. Press and dump the juice back in. So let's start there. So now that I got a little bit of blueberries in here, take this, squeeze that down, and just pour that juice right back in. Don't worry, I'm going to use the leftover stuff and compost it, because I don't think it's a good idea to give my chickens alcoholic blueberries. I don't know what the eggs would taste like after that. So after a few more of that, I will show you what this looks like. Okay, so this is kind of what that looks like. You can tell it's a little on the cloudy side. I wish my camera was better so I could show you guys kind of, oh, you can kind of see all the little floaties in there. I'm sorry, it doesn't want to focus, but it's got some pretty cool floating particles. So now I'm actually I'm debating. I can pour it into another gallon container and then clean this out. And then I can let it basically sit until it clears up for a month or two and then bottle it. Or just let it continue sitting here with this and hope for the best. But I think I'm actually going to strain it out, re-sanitize everything, and put it back into the container and let it clear up for about another month and a half or two. I don't know. Either way, my plan is to enjoy this about the third week of August, third. And have a little tasting party with a few of my siblings to try this blueberry mead. So, whatever I decide to do, I'll show you in the next clip. So obviously I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm going to take the hard task of re-sanitizing a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to basically, because I only have one carboy, which sucks, I'm going to re-sanitize the airlock, the lid, and I'm going to sanitize a glass pitcher that will hold a gallon of liquid. I'm going to pour the mead. Okay. I'm going to siphon the mead, pour it out the spigot into that gallon container, re-sanitize my buoy, and then put everything back. Okay. I have to show you something really funny. I know it's stupid, but I had to do it because I'm curious by nature. So I got all the blueberries from my blueberry mead in a bowl, and they look like this. It's all kind of like that. Well, I got to thinking, okay, I'm gonna throw them in my compost pile, because it's either that or you can make fruit leather out of them. I really don't know if I want to chance that, because last time I made fruit leather, it burned and then it made the whole house smell horrible. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've made cherry brandy where you just use fresh cherries off the tree and throw in a half a cup of sugar and a cup of brandy in a jar and you let it sit in the sun for a month. Those are good. But if you know anything about fruit infusion of alcohols, you know the fruit tastes a little bit different, and sometimes the fruit seems to pick up all the alcohol flavor. So curiosity got the best of me. I'm going to try one. It's not horrible, but I'm not doing it again. Maybe with a different fruit. I will totally try another fruit, but I am not doing that again. Well, maybe not never again, but just probably next time I make blueberry mead, I'll make the same mistake again. So the technical term for what I'm about to do, it's called racking. When you take it and you put it in a secondary container, weird, and it basically, you let it age for some time. Apparently I have sediment in my nostril, but I'm gonna take this is sanitized. I'm gonna put it in here and let it sit till as long as I possibly can before I bottle it, which will probably be around the first week of August or so. So this is all the sediment left in the bottom. So I gotta pitch that, wash this, and put the juice back in. I got all this stuff put back together, and I'm gonna pour the juice back in. I don't know if this is gonna be, I should have stopped it because there was sediment in here. Oh well, I guess that's such is life. My other thing is, I don't know if this is actually gonna turn out okay, because I'm wondering if I added too much air to this whole process. And if that's the case, then I'm gonna have vinegar. If not, we should be good. So I'm just gonna screw this back on. I'm going to wait till August and bottle it. So if you've made it this far, hopefully soon, after this video is posted, it won't be too long, and we'll have part 3, if it turns out well. Fingers crossed.